Here's a story out of Forbes, and it talks about how the BRICS new development bank threatens hegemony of the United States dollar, and it talks about, leaders of the emerging economies of Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa expressing the need for reform in the Bretton Woods institutions. Collectively, BRICS account for nearly 16 trillion in GDP and 40% of the world's population. Basically, wanting to move to a new system. Now, I've covered this before, and so anybody who's seen the videos knows I've definitely mentioned the BRICS. You keep them in the back of your mind as you see things going on the mainstream media or whatever. You keep these things in the back of your head. Well, here's an article coming out, I believe it is posted January the 8th of 2015 out of Arabian Money, entitled, "Is it time to bet against the US dollar at a 9-year high by buying oil, gold, and silver?" Well, it's a good question. I've been thinking that it's a good time to bet against the US dollar for a long, long time. But the question is, when was the economy going to really, really downturn? We've had all these years of stimulus by the Fed, and we had the banker bailouts and the stimulus programs to prop up the banks and prop up the economy, and is it coming time where all of this is coming to a head, where the BRICS are moving forward with the new, trade settlement system, and those countries that are associated with the BRICS, and the U.S. dollar is going to take a tremendous walloping because it's being outed from use as a current currency, or dramatically curtailed in its use as a currency abroad, meaning that countries are beginning to just trade oil for gold, or or oil for rubles, or whatever. It's just not going to be the U.S. dollar that's involved in trade settlement anymore. We're being rejected, and I think that's what the articles with Bill Gross are about, where he says that the party's over. And I mean, come on, he did work for PIMCO for 40 years, so I think the guy knows the bond market, and he exited stage left at a very interesting time. And I thought that back at the time. I thought, this guy and that other Muhammad guy, he took off too before Bill Gross, and now Bill Gross, then Bill Gross takes off and steps down and goes somewhere else, and now Gross is out there saying that the party's over. And in the meantime, let's just go over here. Hang with me for some fantastic insight. I'm just kidding. I just read the news and try to make sense of it like anybody. But this, I like to throw my takes on it. So anyway, here we go. Here's this story. The S&P 500 erases loss for year as stocks rally for the second day. I mean, just a couple of 3 days ago or something, I looked at the stock market and it was like 17,300 or something, and now it's, I was thinking, wow, it's really going down, and then all of a sudden, boom, here goes, it's up to 17,800 or something today, and no, it says 17,904. Oh my, the plunge protection team must be at work big time. And I've mentioned the plunge protection team before. It was put into place in the 80s after the stock market crash in 87. It was under Reagan's administration, and they named it the President's Working Group on Financial Reform. And they were then able to pretty much take control of the markets and move them up and down like a yo-yo, through. And there, and there's other things that have, accompanied that. We've seen them report on CNBC about the high-speed trading, and that, all of that coming out, and really nothing being done about it. It's just, okay, yeah, they high-speed trade, big deal. They have the software to be able to do whatever they want, and the little guy does not. And so that's a big advantage for the insiders. Nothing being done about that, though. I mean, they can just do whatever they want. The big banks, the commercial banks in this country can do just pretty much whatever they want. They were given the dictatorial favor in this country when Henry Paulson went before Congress in 2008, orchestrating the banker bailouts and maneuvering the banks into a position to receive the bailout money and to supposedly save the economy. And we know what a scam really it all was, but that's where that's what happened, and this is where we are now. People don't understand, at least most of the people I talk to, that the party just can't go on forever. It's not. It just amazes me that people don't educate themselves a little bit more about how the world really works, and how the economy really works, and how the stock market, and how all the currency markets and all of those things, how they work. And it's just the same old story. It's the same old story, repeated in history time and time again. And it's no telling how many times it's gone on. There was the crash of '29 and the ensuing Great Depression, and all of those things that happened in the around 29, 33 on through the the 30s there until we got into the World War II, and we saw before that the collapse of the of Weimar Germany's currency. The name of the currency isn't coming to my mind, but anyway. The hyperinflation that ensued. We've seen similar things go on in places like whether it's Argentina, which has had 2 economic collapses since 2001, 2 currency collapses. Zimbabwe, which of course that's a third world country, but they these countries have crashed, and their currencies have crashed because of the phony baloney economic systems that have been put in place in those countries, just like the one we have here in the United States. This one will collapse. When will it collapse? Well, I think we're going to see a little hiccup soon. I mean, to the really downside of something. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know if they're going to have a cyber attack to cover things up, and false flag, put a nice, fog everything up through a false flag so people don't know what the hell's going on, and people be running around, whoa, save us, and, begging the government to do something to turn the economy back on or whatever, just like they did in 2008. I remember even conservative people who are so conservative, they're conservative gun owners and conservatives, but boy, they sure did cheer on those banker bailouts. They didn't seem to get upset about any of that. They'll get upset when somebody threatens to take their guns, or violate their Second Amendment, or threaten just whatever. But man, they'll let bankers come in and rob them blind and just cheer it right on. I mean, it wasn't just Democrats and liberals that were cheering on the banker bailouts. It was conservatives. I know who they were, in terms of out there in the media and stuff. And I have friends and family that thought that was a pretty good idea. We have to save the banking system. No, you just saved the too bigs to fail. That's the key. It didn't save the banking. The too bigs to fail should have failed, and we would have went through a corrective period, and then the power could have been distributed. Let those suckers fail, and then distribute the power to the region. These other, not regional banks, but these smaller banks out in the country that are in my opinion, a better place to be than some of these too bigs to fail. I don't know. The whole banking system may be screwed, but once this derivative bomb goes off, it's going to be on, and this oil could trigger it, just like in '08. Look out. Be prepared. Be prepared mentally and physically, and spiritually, or whatever you need to do. Keep some water, food, filters, ammo, things to protect yourself, because society could go kind of nutty, but it's going to get nutty. So anyway, thought I'd throw that in there, and have a good one.